So today was the Hemel Hempstead 22-mile time trial around Ivinghoe and Whipsnade Zoo. So it was pretty wet and windy. It's quite a tough race, and on some of the descents are getting blown around all over the place. So it's kind of quite an interesting race, and I came first, which was nice. Just 7 seconds ahead of Michael Broadwith in second place. So now I'm just cleaning the bike after getting a bit of a battering this morning. So this is my time trial bike. I bought it last year. It's got electronic gears, so it's supposed to be easy to change gears. You change quite rapidly. And for the technical minded, I have a 56 big ring, which means you can go quite fast downhill. And then when you're going uphill, you can go into the small ring, 39. So it's quite a range of different gears, going very slowly and also going very fast. So it is built for aerodynamics. You can see there's all these very thin and specifically designed equipment to try to reduce any drag from air, because when you're cycling, that's actually the biggest thing that slows you down when you hit the air. So we try to make it as aerodynamic as possible, and they use all kinds of models to make it more aerodynamic. This thing at the back is supposed to be what they call drag neutral, not supposed to slow you down. And actually the reason I took it today was because just in case I punctured, I wanted to have a spare thing to stop me freezing to freeze to death, because it was actually pretty cold when I finished, even without standing around. So that's pretty useful. And so this is my time trial bike. Very different to the one I use in the hill climb, where the hill climb bike is all about getting it as light as possible. For time trials, it's more aerodynamics than low weight. I was about 13 or 14, and I just got my first road bike, and so I just started, it was kind of exciting to get out of the village, and then before you know it, I was doing like long rides into the Yorkshire Dales with Otley Cycling Club, and I just enjoyed getting out, spending all day on a bike and doing long distances. Then I went to university, Oxford, and I joined the university club. I thought about doing races, but somehow I always got injured or ill, so I never really I might have done 1 or 2 races, I can't really remember. And then I kind of, for various reasons, kind of stopped cycling for quite a long time. But then in mid-20s or so, some injuries cleared up and got back into riding my bike. And so I thought, why not get around and doing some races? So that's kind of how I got into racing. I got the cycling bug very early, but it took a long time to actually get around to racing. So the Sri Chinmoy Cycling Team, well, I became a student of Sri Chinmoy in 1999, and because I was interested in meditation. And part of his philosophy is sport, and the Sri Chinmoy Marathon team put a lot of running races on, and I started to organise a couple of just short running races in Oxford. And so I always felt that was kind of my sports club, the Sri Chinmoy Marathon team, and most people in it are into running, but my sport was cycling. So then we decided to set up a cycling team here in the UK, and so I've been racing for the Sri Chinmoy Cycling Team for quite a few years now. Actually, when I set it up, the cycling club, I found out that back in the late 70s, Sri Chinmoy himself had done a few 24-hour cycle rides in New York, and many of the members of the Sri Chinmoy Centre too. So there was a phase where a lot of people got into cycling. I mean, in the UK there's not many people who race, but there's a few people around the world, like when I go to New York or Europe, you do get a small training ride with people, which is nice. Sri Chinmoy is a spiritual teacher. He was born in India and he came to America in the 1960s. And I first came across him because I was interested in learning how to meditate, and so he established meditation centres around the world. And I guess that's one of the most important things about his philosophy. But also he as well as meditation, he says you can have a spiritual approach to really anything that you do. So, for example, he encourages sport and music and art. And he's quite a keen sportsman himself, long distance running and weightlifting. So it's very much an integral path, meditation, but also doing other activities as well. Self-transcendence is something Sri Chinmoy talks quite a lot about. It's just a simple philosophy of trying to go beyond your limits, or see how far you can stretch yourself physically, mentally, spiritually. And so on one level, there's a very obvious self-transcendence of the physical. Time trialing is all about, can you beat your personal best? So there's a very close correlation there. I think everyone, to some extent, is trying to transcend what they've done before, and I think it's a very strong human emotion to try to see if we can do better than before, go beyond. But I think when reading Sri Chinmoy's philosophy, it's trying to think of self-transcendence more than in just terms of physical capacity, to see self-transcendence also in terms of, you could say, our attitude, the way we approach something. So to try to transcend our weak qualities or negative qualities, to try to invoke the inner strength that we have, and to use all the different aspects of ourself, not just the body but the mind, the heart and the soul. So for me, self-transcendence is a big part of Sri Chinmoy's philosophy, and it ties in quite well with cycling, because you're always trying to go a bit faster, and that's one of the joy of cycling, see if you can beat your previous record. So when we're cycling or just living, it's kind of a battle between different things going on in our mind, and some of the you could say negative qualities we have, doubt or anxiety or something like that. I mean, like for example, you're racing, and before a big race it's easy to get anxious. How are you going to do? Is someone going to be better than you? And I see this as unhelpful, because when you start thinking about other people, when you start worrying about how you're going to do, you kind of give force to this negative quality. And it's much better if you ignore that, if you let go of these concerns and worries, and you just focus on your own performance, your own efforts at self-transcendence. If you give it your best, and it doesn't matter then how it works out in the results as much. So I do meditate every day. I got into meditation not to be able to cycle faster, but because I was intrigued at this idea of experiencing peace and kind of an inner satisfaction, something that doesn't rely on the outer life. But when you get into meditation, I guess you do start to think how it might affect other aspects of life. So, before I cycle, I'll meditate for a short time. And whether it makes you faster or not, I don't know. But for me, I enjoy doing it for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I think it's helpful in that basic athlete preparation of getting a very clear and focused mind and attitude. Because I feel that if you have, you're racing or training and you have a lot of random thoughts going through your mind, in a way that's kind of detracting from the effort that you're putting in, you can get sidetracked. And the best efforts come when you're really in the moment, you're really focused on the effort, and the mind is as quiet as you can. So I think there is quite a bit of correlation there, because meditation, you're actively learning to have a quieter mind, control your thoughts. So when you come to do something like cycling, you can use some of this, you could say meditation capacity, to help focus on cycling. And also, it's partly it helps you to enjoy it, in the sense that one of the great things about cycling is just getting into that flow of just really being in tune with the bike and the cycling and the effort of it, and to have all your concentration, all your awareness on cycling, and not thinking of what you've got to do at work tomorrow or something like that.